have that symbology as I explained to you. So Neo, of course, represents you, white people, among other things. So now, in order for Neo to walk the path of the one or to become the one, he needed the oracle. So you have the oracle. The oracle sends him to, the architect. Everything that she was talking about in part 1 and then in part 2 and everything, Matrix Reloaded, was to get him to the source, which she said, you have to go to the source. That door of light, you've seen it in your dreams. What did you see when you walked through it? And he explained he's seen Trinity fall or what have you. So she leads him to the architect. Now, Seraph gives away who the oracle and the architect is, which the oracle is the black woman. Just that simple. She's black, but she represents the black woman, period. Now, Seraph gives away the architect as well as the oracle as far as their relation and his relation. So you have the architect and the oracle representing yin and yang. Now you have Seraph, who also represents yin yang, plain and simple. So Seraph gives it away because he's Asian. Remember, the key maker was Asian as well. The key maker was who Neo had to get to the architect. So both of those Asian guys gives away the yin and yang that is talking about with the architect and with the oracle. Now remember, she said in Matrix Revolutions, the last Matrix, she was saying to Neo that his job is to balance the matrix, and her job was to unbalance it. So you have the yin, which is negative female energy, and you have the yang, which is masculine male energy, and you have yin yang. This is what it's doing. His job is to balance. Her job is to unbalance. So it's giving you that. So when we're talking about yin yang, we know we're talking about Kundalini, which we'll get into. So we can see as you're going through these steps in the matrix, it's breaking down everything that we've been talking about so far. It's giving you these things. And they wait to the end, but you can put some things together in the first and second matrix, and they're giving you the pieces to bring you to this overall conclusion. So we see the yin yang symbol being black and white. We see yin representing the black woman. She's black. The yin sign is black. And we see the architect representing yang. The symbol is white. He's white. No coincidence there. That is obviously clear right there. So you have the oracle. You have the architect. And you got to understand the doors. What the doors are about. Neo, remember, through the matrix, these doors he's going through. The doors represent Masonic initiations, which Neo was going through in the first and second matrix, plain and simple. So when he walked through the door to get to the architect, was the 33rd degree, you might as well say. The architect is, of course, a Masonic saying. It's all about the grand architect of the universe, represented by the square and the compass. Is all Masonic. That is clear. That is easy. So in Masonic initiations, you actually walk through doors. You go through doors and you knock a certain amount of times. There's a lot of rituals and Masonic initiations and levels that deals with doors. It's just that simple. So that's another easy given that is giving away the Masonic connection. So you have in the first matrix, Neo running, going through a door, 303-33, take the hint, where he's shot and killed by Smith and he is reborn. Another major hint right there. So 33, take the hint. Everything is fitting into what we've been discussing so far is right there. So you start putting all the pieces together and everything starts to come a lot more clear. So now Neo, again, goes through the door, talks to the architect. This is symbolizing 33 degrees, 33rd degree, even though he became that when he walked through the door and got killed and was reborn. When you know about Masonic initiations and rituals, you know that happens in Freemasonry, where you lay in a casket, symbolizing death and rebirth. All that is done. So the Freemasonry symbology is right there, clear as day. So the architect basically tells him what I'm telling you. Tells him about him being the sixth version. Now, in the 33rd degree, as I discussed, you learn about the stairway to heaven, Jacob's ladder, what have you, the spinal column, and all this stuff. So he's telling Neo that, you are the sixth version. You need to basically go back to the source, where you'll be allowed to select 23 people, 16 female, 7 male to basically rebuild Zion. Now, the numbers give it away. The numbers give it away. So now remember too, as well, the oracle tells Neo that he needs to return to the source where the path of the one ends. The path of the one ends. So he goes to see the architect. This is where the path of the one is supposed to end. The architect tells him the same thing. You have to basically pick, 23 people, 16 female, 7 male to recreate, Zion or what have you. And the numbers is what's given away in the way he says it. He says 23, 16, 7 numbers. So we're talking about reincarnation. We're talking about people being born. You got to pick people. So the numbers give it away. You have 23, you have 16 and 7, which will give you 23. So you have 23, 23, which will give you 46. What does this mean? So we know we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. So 23 pairs give you 2 pairs of chromosomes, totaling 46 chromosomes. So 23, 16, 23, you have 23. You have 16 and 7, which is another 23. Basically telling you we're talking about chromosomes. We're talking about creating people. So in dealing with reincarnation, the source can only be one thing. What is the source? Where do we come from? We come from the woman. That is the source of us, of people. The source is the woman and is given away by this numerology. So the source is clearly a woman based on the fact that you can't get any kind of people without the woman, period. So again, the key that gives it away is the chromosomes, the numbers, the 23 and 23. Now, what's so important about these chromosomes is when you also get to the 23rd chromosome, the 23rd chromosome is unique to who? The woman. The woman has XX chromosome. Men, we have the XY chromosome. So 23, that number is symbolic. It really alludes to the woman and singles her out when you understand it's dealing with the 46 chromosomes. So boom, you have woman being the source, which is clear, understandable. The source of us is the woman. And this is what we get into. So when you start digging into that thing, we know this is where it's going to lead us. So now you got to understand, again, source. So the source is the woman, but the source is specific to Neo. And as I said, Neo represents white people. So the source is specific to white people. So the source would be the white woman. And what he said, you go to the source and you basically pick these people, and a cycle is going to keep happening. You're going to keep reincarnating the cycle over and over again. It's metaphorically telling you that if you go back to the source, if you go back to the white woman, this is all that's going to happen. You're going to keep reincarnating over and over and repeating the cycle over and over again. So you got to understand the symbolic understanding of the source and what it's talking about and how important it is, because it has a lot to do with everything else. Now, he also tells Neo that if he doesn't go back to the source, it will be the end of his species. If he goes choose the other door and save Trinity, that will be the end of his species. So saying that if you don't go back to the white woman and we keep reincarnating over and over again, keep making white people, you choose the other door, that will be the end of your species, end of the white race. So go back and keep reincarnating and making these people. So you got to understand what it's saying here. It all makes sense. It all fits, and you'll see more, as we keep going. But this is what it's talking about. Now, an architect calls Neo an anomaly, and an anomaly is something that deviates from its expected path. And white people, sorry to say, that's basically what you are, an anomaly. You deviated from the expected path genetically. So you are a mutation of African people. A mutation is basically an anomaly, something that deviates from its expected path. So that's basically what you are. So it's giving you the hints, clear as day, as I was saying. So the architect represents, as I said, the Masons, the Masonic government that's basically trying to balance the anomaly instead of fixing it. So you have this government system that they understand what's going on. The Masons, they understand, as I said, they understand what's going on with you guys. But instead of them fixing it and coming back to melanin, they're trying to balance the situation. Oh, we're just going to rule and take over. So you got to understand, in the Matrix movie, the architect representing, the government, representing Masons, the architect in the movie, they created the program called The One. They created the program called the One. Neo has powers. Neo is looked at as a god. He can fly. And they made this program to convince Neo that his purpose is basically to save Zion. And to save Zion, he has to keep reincarnating. That's what he has to do. So when he came to the architect, remember, this is where the path of the One is supposed to end. He was supposed, like the other 5 Neos before him, he was supposed to pick reincarnation, save Zion, to go ahead back and, do the thing all over again, but he didn't. So you got to understand, they did all this stuff, to basically get him to keep reincarnating. And it's basically the same with white people. Neo was given powers. You basically have powers. You have white privilege. You have privilege. You have been put on this high pedestal. You are in positions of power. They have made you to hate black people. They have made you to be racist. They have made you superheroes. They have made God in the image of you. People bow down to an image that's a white person. This is what this government system has done instead of trying to correct the problem of the mutation that happened. Plain and simple. This is what they've done. Same as the architect. This is what they're trying to tell you. This is how they're breaking it down. So it's the same thing. Now, Agent Smith. Smith also represents white people, represents you. He represents control, chaos, the lies, the deception, the deceit, the feeling of no purpose. Because this is the thing that you're going to find out as white people. What is the purpose? When you find out, one, that Jesus is a lie. This God is not real. The Trinity is bullshit. This God that was made in your image is not real. What is your purpose? When you understand that, you have no purpose. Because when you understand that, you are not going to have the understanding that your purpose is to get back into melanation, to be remelanated. You're not going to understand that. So you have no purpose. Your purpose is just to keep reincarnating. So Smith represents all of that. He also represents the inevitability of death and the end of the world. And that if you keep reincarnating, you will not fulfill your true purpose. Plain and simple, you'll keep reincarnating over and over again. So if you keep reincarnating over and over again, you're just fighting against yourself. Plain and simple, symbolized by, Smith and Neo fighting. Because it's all you're doing is fighting with yourself until you finally understand with yourself or selves that you need melanin. You need to come back. You need to reincarnate. But this is what Smith symbolizes. He symbolizes this cycle. He symbolizes so much. You need to break that cycle of reincarnation. So the Oracle tells Neo that she wants what he wants, but the only way we can get it is together. Big hint. So at the end, when he's fighting Smith, when Neo and Smith is fighting at the end of Matrix Revolution, she says, through Smith, everything that has a beginning has an end. Neo basically trying to get him to understand that he needs to break the cycle. Everything that has a beginning has an end. This cycle does not. It's a cycle. You need to break the cycle. Now, understand where that phrase comes from. Everything that has a beginning has an end. You got a lot of people who thought it came from Buddha. It's not from Buddha. It's actually from an old book called Immortality. The principal philosophic arguments for and against it. So the book is called Immortality. It's an old book, early 1900s. And it's ironic that a book called Immortality has a phrase that says everything that has a beginning has an end. So this is where the phrase comes from. So she's reminding him that he basically needs to, to end this. So, he allows Smith to basically, absorb him, assimilate him, and he combines with the Oracle and everything else to basically defeat Smith. So now the Oracle, in Matrix Revolution, another major key to everything, as you already know. So now the Oracle already know what's going to happen. Plain and simple. The only thing she doesn't know is what's going to happen past her decision to allow Smith to assimilate her. Because as she said, we don't know. We can't see past the choices we don't understand. Now, to a program, a computer, letting something destroy you is just like beyond comprehension. So she can't understand why she would do this. So she can't see past the point when Smith assimilates her because it's something that she shouldn't do. But as she said at the end, she had faith, she had hope. And she also doesn't know what Neo is going to do. Is Neo truly going to follow the path? Is Neo really going to understand what it takes to understand what's going on and do what's needed to basically beat Smith? So she knows everything else up until that point. So remember at the end when Seraph asked her, did you always know? She said she didn't always know, but she had hope. She had faith or whatever. So remember, Oracle was smart. She had a plan. So remember when Smith comes into the kitchen and, he basically says, if you knew I was coming, if you're an Oracle, why are you sitting there? That means you deliberately made these cookies, and everything like that, because he's like, what's going on? No way is this easy for her to come. And she just says, do what you're here to do, because it's a trap, of course. So she allows him to assimilate her, but she knows already that he assimilated Sati and he assimilated Seraph, which was part of the plan. Why was this a part of the plan? Because one, as I said, who does Seraph represent? He represents Yin Yang. Seraph, remember, why? I mean, he did things in this movie for a reason. Why would they show Sati going off with Seraph? Seraph gives it away as he gives away the Oracle Yin Yang connection with the architect. Seraph, he gives away who Sati really is. As I said, I'll save her for later. So he gives away who she is. So Seraph being Yin Yang, masculine and feminine energy. So yeah, Seraph basically gives it away. He gives it away. So you have Sati, who is basically Shakti. Sati and Shakti are both consorts of Shiva. Plain and simple. The Hindu god Shiva. So again, we go back into Hinduism, as I talked about in Buddhism. All this stuff ties into each other. So the Shakti, the Hindu goddess, she is dealing with the primordial cosmic energy. She deals with Kundalini Rising. So this is why Seraph gives her away, because Seraph, Yin Yang, which basically is going to help you with Kundalini Rising, they go hand in hand. In masculine and feminine energy, Kundalini Rising, same thing. So the Oracle understanding, you have Kundalini energy, you have Yin Yang, the balance. All that's left is the black woman. He absorbs her. He basically assimilates her. You have all the building blocks to give basically the white man melanin, to get him what he needs to get this energy to the pineal gland. All that's left is for him to make a choice. Plain and simple. So Neo, everything has a beginning, has an end. Neo, break the cycle. So when he allows Smith to basically assimilate him, he goes in with the Oracle, the black woman, Yin Yang, masculine and feminine energy, Kundalini Rising, all in one. Boom. Melanin explosion. You might as well say light. Boom. Destroy Smith. Everything is fine. Basically what it's coming down to. I'll take my bow now. That was a mouthful. But that's basically what it's telling you. That's basically what it's talking about. Everything fits. So now also remember, what did Sati do at the end? Remember, she made the sun come up. And she said it's for Neo. Now they said, yeah, will we see him again? And she said, I suspect so. Why? He's being reborn. The sun rising symbolizes rebirth, but also Kundalini Rising. She said it's for Neo, because now Neo has the sun. He has the pineal gland. He was reborn. Also remember when Trinity and Neo is basically going to the machine city and they go up above the clouds. What do they see? The sun. Beautiful sun. Symbolism here. What happens after that? Trinity dies. She dies. The whole ship comes down. Boom. It's over. Symbolic. It's all symbolic. And I hate to say it like this, but it's symbolic to the white man saying, in order for you to get the sun, true God, Kundalini Rising, all that, you got to get rid of the white woman. Plain and simple. It is also saying, when you look at Trinity, she loved Neo, but she followed him to her death. And that's what it's saying. If you keep following this white man, he is blind. Neo was blinded by who? Bane. Bane, the bane of his existence. White man, who was Smith. The bane of your existence is this white flesh, this white man. That's the bane of your existence. You have to get rid of it. So to white women, the same thing. You keep following this blind white man, he's going to lead you to your death. And I ain't trying to be nasty or nothing like that or be funny, but I don't think it's a coincidence that she was penetrated by steel rods, black steel rods. So I ain't trying to be funny, but they crazy for doing that. But this is what they're trying to say. This is what they're trying to say. So you got to understand, the true savior is us. Plain and simple. Masculine, feminine energy. Kundalini Rising. Melanin. You need to be reborn into a melanated person. Understand everything that it's giving you. It's giving you all the hints. It's talking about everything. So when you look at the Matrix, when you look at the movie, Neo was helped by black people. Plain and simple. If it wasn't for the Oracle, black. Look at everybody. Look at the cast. You have Morpheus, Neo. We have Morpheus. You have the Oracle, black. You have, if you remember from the first, Tank and Dozer, black. All these black people is trying to give you the hint that you need these black people to help you. But also it's giving the hint of unity. That together we need to do this. We need to make this happen because it's for a better good, for, common good. And I know it's going to be a lot of black people that say, well, why should we help them? Why should we help these people? Because they need to come to this understanding, because believe it or not, when this happens, and I don't like to get into all this talk, a lot of people will talk about, the earth jumping to the fifth dimension and everything like that. To me, the end of the world is the end of the world. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people are going to reincarnate, and a lot of them will be black. You have to understand that, because they are not getting this information. They ain't treating their bodies right, and they will not be able to make the shift from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. To the fifth dimension. It's just that simple. So black people are going to get stuck here, and white people need to get this into their consciousness and either do what's right and reincarnate, get melanin back in them, or get this knowledge in them. So eventually when they do come back to whatever is here, they have some kind of knowledge. And because, this knowledge is going to need to exist. They're going to need to be able to tap into it and recall it, because you might get stuck because you're bullshitting. A lot of people might get stuck. You have to get this. I know it sounds crazy. A lot of people still don't want to believe it after all the proof. A lot of people think it's a joke, but to me, I don't really get into all that, because the end of the world is the end of the world. It don't matter how it happened. It's going to happen. What I'm giving you is the knowledge you need to get the tools you need to go to where you're supposed to go to fulfill your purpose. Plain and simple. Because the shit is going to happen. It's inevitable. Plain and simple. Whether you believe it or not. You can look at the reports about the sun and everything like that. And, people talking about a host of crazy stuff. It doesn't matter. The end of the world is going to happen. And the dimensional shift and the evolution, the elevation, I should say, of the consciousness of the earth. If you can't grasp that on how well to go from a conscious to a physical, you're just not going to get it. But you need to do what you need to do. You need to get this knowledge in you. You need to have it so, as they say, when you die, your life flashes before your eyes. And a lot of people in esoteric circles will say that is your soul accessing what they call the Akashic records or whatever. And then those records, which basically be everything you know. But when you go on, your life flashing before your eyes, this knowledge needs to pop up. And it needs to be a connection, which result in, explosion of knowledge, which will give, you that power, the one. You will be knowing, you will know, I don't need to reincarnate. I don't want to reincarnate. Let's not go back here. So it's a lot that's going to happen. It's a lot that's going to go on. A lot of people need to understand this. And you got to understand, when people was doing their research, when Crowley, if we start reading about the end towards Crowley's life, he found this out. He knew it was a certain point he couldn't go beyond because he wasn't black. And he started drinking and just was, indulging in lower brain stuff. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. Sex, drugs, and crazy stuff. I'm gonna say rock and roll. I don't think it was out yet when he died, but sex and drugs was his thing, plain and simple. And he just got drunk, and he was wasted most of the time, and because he couldn't go no further, he couldn't do nothing. Crawley was done. And a lot of people, when you get to this point, when you start getting this knowledge, then you understand what you need to do. And I said, De Niro, George Lucas. It's not a coincidence they got black women, because they got it. They are high-ranking Masons. They are past 33rd degree. They understand. They get it. It's not a coincidence. So you're going to start to see, that theme. The movie Get Out, when you really break it down and get into it. I mean, they wanted these black bodies because they understood that the black bodies were superior. It was bitten on them and all kinds of weird stuff. Big hint right there. Now, that movie is kind of sort of designed to kind of create separation. Even though some people will get the esoteric knowledge behind it, some people will look at it and say, fuck these white people, racist. See these white people, they racist. And some white people are going to say, I don't want no nigger body. Y'all crazy. They're getting shot and killed by cops. I don't want that. It creates this negative stereotype. It creates separation. It is what it is. All the movies coming out with, all this 12 Years a Slave and, NWA and all these movies that just pound on racism. Separation. Because in separation, you will not come to this conclusion that I just gave you. You will not come into this knowledge because you're constantly hating each other. Hate. The reason why Neo went back into the Matrix, why he chose the other door, is because love. He loved Trinity. And that's the hint it's trying to give you. The reason why you got to come together and do this is because of love. Love conquers all. He basically sacrificed everything because he loved that woman, even though she died, but it's symbolism in that. But that was the reason, plain and simple. So, that's the hint there, man. You got to really, a lot of people just really fake themselves out, and they just really get into stupid, weird shit based on, what they've been programmed with. And it's crazy. You got to break out that program and understand what it's designed for. And it's one of those things, like, I know how serious this stuff is. And I know you guys, a lot of people still going to be skeptical about it, but I tried to convey this information to you the best way that I could and get you to understand and really grasp this information. And again, watch this again. Understand, you got to do research. You got to really look into it. And I hope that a lot of people really get this message and understand what it's talking about. This is basically a major part of what I'm talking about, what my message is about. As everybody know, I'm about unity. I'm not doing this, because I hate white people or because because I'm mad, or I'm saying this stuff because I'm jealous or anything like that, or because I'm Afrocentric. I'm not saying all this stuff because I have a white wife or a white girlfriend or anything like that. I'm not saying this stuff because I just want to say it. It's facts. It's proven stuff. Plain and simple. I'm not saying this stuff just for nothing. No, I don't hate white people. I have a lot of white friends. No, I do not have a white girlfriend or a white wife. I just have white friends. I have white people who I know and care about, who I conveyed this information to, who accepted it. Long time ago, actually. So they really get it. They really understand. It's not something that you can just easily do because of the way our society is set up. It is looked down upon to have a mixed relationship. It's looked down upon to be pro-black if you're white. It's looked down upon to be pro-white if you're black. Everything they put out there in this system is designed to separate us, so we don't understand what I just told you. And, it's going to be up to people to really do their own research and get this information and get it into them and accept it and understand what this stuff is all about and how they really need melanin and how they really need to get this knowledge in order to continue. So this is my video. This DVD was important. It's a big chunk, again, of what's going on. And I got a lot more coming. As I said, I'm going to Kemet, going to visit Egypt in a couple weeks. I'll be there. I'll live stream from there. You guys who made it to the end of the DVD, definitely comment on Instagram about the video, what you thought, what have you. comment on Facebook, or comment on YouTube as well. Leave some comments. Let me know what you guys think, and if you really understand what I'm saying, because a lot of people just not gonna get it. This shit gonna go over a lot of people's head, and they gonna be thinking a bunch of stupid shit instead of paying attention to exactly what I said, because I can't lay it down any more clear than that. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch, for purchasing and supporting. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I have a lot more to come. I'm really going to go hard and getting these videos back on YouTube as I used to. I just didn't have time. In the process of moving again, in the process of doing a lot of things, so I'm kind of backed up, and I wanted to get this out. And because I know a lot of people was hung up at the end of Buddhism too, and this one is definitely going to connect the dots for those who didn't really get it. So this had to come out, and a lot more to come. But yeah, well, thank you guys for taking the time to watch. See you guys next video.